happy Sunday. I'm just going to have a quick chat. I've been trying too long to do a video, so hopefully this one just flows all right and I'm not going to give up on myself. But that's kind of been the theme of my week. I had a week of not fulfilling the physical plans that I'd put in place, and my consciousness was in a much more creative, inspired zone. And so it did not match up with my plans, you know, what I'd intended to do. And basically what happened was my little girl started going to a nursery for the first time for 3 hours a day, Monday to Friday. So I'd got this sort of 3 hours a day in my head, and that, you know, that's half a day's work. I can get this, that and the other done. And on Monday I achieved a very small portion of what I set out to do, but still had faith in, you know, my willpower for the rest of the week. And Tuesday got worse, Wednesday was a complete write-off, and, you know, I think Thursday and Friday I just kind of accepted it. It was like, what are you trying to do? What do you think you're going to get done by Friday with 3 hours a day, you dozy bitch? So, yeah, I've had a strange week, but I'm accepting it, and I'm waiting for Saturn to go direct to give me a bit of a push forward. So I've definitely felt this sort of stagnation and an increase in energetics as well. This last week has been wild with synchronicities. For me, the digital clock, it's been the repetition of the numbers, so 08, 08, 11, 11, 15, 15, 20, 20, whatever it is. Every time I look at a fucking phone or whatever, it's the repeating numbers, and I saw 144 then. So I was thinking about primers, because 144 actually was a significant number to me before awakening and understanding, you know, other people have this number as, you know, a deep significance within them. And when I was a kid, my mum used to have a few party tricks that she'd ask me, you know, and I'd parrot some answer out to show my intellect off when I was young. And one of them was, what's 12 times 12? And I'd always be like, 144. And so it was like an imprinted memory. So I was thinking about 144. I've seen 144 quite a bit this week as well, but a lot of 222s whacking me on the head. I fucking saw 222 when I said it then. Oh, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But my number sequences or synchronicities, they don't vary much. They're pretty much the same. So I was thinking about the 144, and for me, just learning a little bit more about astrology and having more faith in that form of interpreting the universe and your part in it. It's really eye-opening for me. But what I've been sat with for a while now was, you know, the 12 sun signs and the 12 moon signs, obviously. So the 12 times 12 is 144. So the total variation of energetic shades of archetypes is 144. And I was just like, oh, it's just beautiful. It's like, what energetic shade are you? It's like, I'm a Capricorn sun, Virgo moon. That's my base shade, you know. And I just, yeah, I kind of feel into it like that. So, yeah. And another sort of imprinted childhood memory was chrysanthemum, which has way more relevance and reference for me now, since continuing the journey as well. And, you know, it would be, how do you spell chrysanthemum? It would be CHRYSANTHEMUM. And, yeah, the chrysanthemum with the psychedelic references. And, oh, God, yeah, so I've seen a lot of chrysanthemums in my subconscious. And the other one was a programmed answer, and my answer was, and it was like a joke as well, it was something about, you know, where do you want to go on holiday? And I'd say the Bermuda Triangle, and it would be like a joke, because I think now I realise that it's not the greatest place to go on holiday, is it? I think Bermuda would be better. So yeah, and I just think it's funny, I've been thinking about these a lot, these like imprinted memories that came into my awareness, you know, just straight after my forced awakening, along with some others. So I've been pondering those again, and I've noticed that throughout this week, when I've been talking about certain things, like I was talking to the kid's dad about when I got electrocuted as a kid, because I think this has significance as well. The state, I'll just tell you a little quick story. So my mum and dad had been having an argument one night, and I was trying to tidy up the aftermath. I'd put myself about 7, maybe older or younger, I don't know. And we had this big floor lamp with a fabric lampshade around it, and my mum and dad used to call it Esmeralda or Griselda or something like that, because it made, a creepy shadow of a witch on the wall. Anyway, this lamp was on the floor, broken and bent and whatnot from the argument. So good little me was trying to tidy up and picked up the lamp, unbent the lampshade with the little, wire bits inside. Lifted it up, looked down, and I saw that the light bulb was smashed and cracked inside. And little 7-year-old me stuck my hand in to try and pull it out, untwist it. And obviously it was still plugged into the wall. So it shot me back about 10 foot, and I had this crazy experience where my consciousness was definitely just hanging on to living context. I really do feel like it was a near-death experience, and it was a horrendous trip from the room where it happened, trying to crawl up the stairs to my mum, who was in the bath, to tell her that I was dying and I needed some help and I couldn't breathe, and I had the electricity all through my body and I just couldn't breathe, and it was crazy, and it really resembled a DMT trip that I had once, actually, so it's super interesting. But as I was relaying this story to the kid's dad, I just started crying, like, like choking up, and I couldn't breathe, but then I was laughing and crying because it was like the significance of just like poor little me, like that horrible traumatic event, and no one was there to help me. And then when I finally got up the stairs to my mum, I couldn't communicate to her because I couldn't speak. I was trying to do it telepathically, tell her that I needed this desperate help, but she didn't understand what was going on straight away. And there was such sort of anger towards it from my subconscious as well, because I was kind of, like, even at that age, blaming her. I was trying to clear up someone else's mess, which is a pattern that I've fallen into throughout my life instead of sorting out my own mess. But yeah, I just suddenly felt so sorry for this little girl that was, I used to keep my room so tidy because the rest of the house could be chaos sometimes. And if my mum and dad were arguing, I would be like, I was such a light sleeper because the minute I heard raised voices, I'd be down there as like the referee, and I was fucking wild, I would. And then I was like, I was wild, but also I was showing them their lessons from a young age, and I was looking after them. I'd separate them, I'd put my mum to bed. They were obviously pissed, drinking and whatnot. So, and I felt this huge sort of compassion for that little kid in me that, I was just like, oh gosh, what a shit, I have had quite a tough time, sometimes. So anyway, yeah, all these sort of memories kept popping up, and anyway, so what's been on my mind this last week is, again, this sort of shadow, and I'm going to leave a link to Tobias Lars's latest video in the description box, which I was completely synced with and resonate with, and he was talking about humans' nasty thoughts, the ones that we don't like to admit, the silent ones, the bitchiness, the pettiness, the jealousy, envy, rage, victimhood, whatever, the lower vibrational energies which we emit. And I started to become aware of them when I had my own little kids and I was suffering internally so much, but not saying anything on the outside, but seeing what just my anxiety, how if I just had anxiety, even though I was pretending to do the right things, I was doing the right things, energetically I wasn't there, I wasn't matching up with a calm, welcoming frequency. I was my aura was compromised, and I was attached with a lot of things which I am no longer attached to, these darker thoughts about myself and others and the world around me and everything. So yeah, I sort of see him in like colour and shape and frequency, and how they emit these nasty thoughts. And really that's just what the shadow is, and that's what demons are, and they're our own, and we've got to own them, and we've got to know them, and make friends with the monster that's under the bed. Get along with the voices inside of your head, because it's quite obvious to me throughout my awakening that I am in control. I thought I wasn't for so long, but I am. And I am, you know, the conscious creator of my reality from this present moment until, you know, my next venture off into the universe somewhere else. And so it's been a huge, massive journey of learning, and it's all about judgment, and it's such a huge piece, and I've not got enough time now, but when you have thoroughly judged yourself, I think that's what the shadow work is, and we're judging ourselves against our own moral compass. Remember, this is where it gets tricky in the spiritual community, or any of the truth and narratives, or the religious ideologies, or whatever, where you sort of end up feeling like you have to live to somebody else's moral standards or set of rules or whatever to be a good person and not sin. And the sin is our own sign. It's ours. It's our own emanation of lower frequency thought forms. So if you're emanating these nasty thoughts, you are going to match up with that nasty vibration somewhere in the ethers, and you're going to be presented with some experience with your consciousness and your imagination that matches up to that, and your internal essence and vibration will, sorry, 11:22 then, will interpret your information in your way and attach a little story to it. And that is wonderful, and that's our own personal truths. But again, I just feel like what I witness on the collective is way too much fear, confusion, and separation. And I feel like it happens when you're sitting within that vibration and that perception of being in the world but not of the world. And I think we all come to that. And I've spoken about before my experiences with perceiving and receiving information about gang stalking or targeted individuals, and how that perception created a frequency that was matching fear and paranoia, and you know, it was reflected back to me in some really crazy ways until I understood more and passed through that. But I think that's where the sort of trap is, and that's where like the narratives with fear and separation come in. So it's like, I'm the chosen one. I felt like that for a while, like I'm the chosen one. And like, you know, just sort of like ego trips, like, you know, and again, sometimes I think, no, don't downplay everything, because everything is significant to you. But, you know, like if you put your own name into gematria and things like that, the things that I could think I was because of how my name appears in gematria, in a good way, by the way, and not in a bad way, it would sort of solidify that superiority that this sort of in the world but not of the world perception brings. But I don't think it's a healthy long-term place to sit in a perception. I don't think as individuals we should think ourselves above or different to anybody else. So I don't resonate with the paradigms where I'm organic and everybody else is AI, or I'm an angel, everybody else is a demon, or, you know, whatever it is. I think it's much more tricky for us to shed the ego and the need to glorify either ourselves or an external idol, and to understand the lessons in a personal way. Yeah, I just see a lot of confusion, and I'm like, oh God, let's just try and sort of bring this back down to earth somehow. Like it's a really fragile part of the transformation sometimes when you're within the fear and paranoia and confusion of the lower vibrations and the densities, and you're consuming certain information, and then it's being presented to you on the outside because of your internal perception and your emanation, and so it solidifies these sort of narratives. But for me, that's just not a good long-term solution. It's not actually how it is. It's much healthier if we can just view it as a level of consciousness, and so anybody who is residing within visible or invisible frequencies of lower densities, lower vibrations, that's just what it is. They're just at a lower state of consciousness. And so the people that are asleep or demonic or AI or however we perceive that, they're just, they're just not there. They haven't got the space. They haven't created the space for the information and the perceptions that some of us have during awakening. It doesn't mean they're bad or evil, and we shouldn't even be judging. We should only judge ourselves, and that's what the awakening is about. Judging ourselves against our own unique moral compass. The sin is not to be feared, and that's what these paradigms do. It's like you end up feeling, it's like, for me, it's like the innate goodness you're born with. You know what's right and wrong. You don't need to follow these certain standards just against your own. And so the shadow is just the nasty thoughts, unless you're a real twat, and then you'll know about it, won't you? But it's nothing to be feared. They're our dragons. Like, tame them, understand they're yours, and understand that you can keep them away as well. I think it's quite confusing when people are like, you are not your thoughts. And in a way, it's like, you're not. But for me, it's like you are still. It's like it's your higher self. I don't personally, and again, I don't ever want to piss on anyone's bonfire, and this is not me being dismissive, but if you can own the thoughts and understand the thoughts, it's different. I've never had much sort of interference with fear before. I've never really been that type of person. I've always been quite, fearless, or a bit of a warrior, so I really do feel like it's not anything to do with anybody else or any religion or any ideology or anything. It's just dig and judge yourself. Go through your own shit against your own moral compass. Understand your lessons and your consent and your participation, your responsibility, your acknowledgement in every energetic exchange that you've ever had up to now. Life is like a school, it is, or for me it is, and I did actually like school. I enjoyed it. I was a bit of a swat, I didn't do homework, but when I was there, I was, enjoying my swatting away. And it's good to improve and to grow and to refine. It's not good to just be some stagnant ball of bollocks. And so let's help each other through this difficult time. And I do think that the only way is to stop the glorifying and the externalizing of really what's humans' innate right is to connect to your higher self and source consciousness, the divine, the divinity within you, which we all have access to. And it's blocked on some people, and some people block it themselves, and some people have got different challenges and all that, but that right is there for us. I think the awakening is the chance for that, but we don't need to start freaking out about anything, any sort of apocalypses or raptures, or don't be feared into anything. Just understand your own shadow and your own wants and desires, your own moral compass. Balance it all, and just do it for you, and then start talking about it. What I get frustrated about in many communities is that there's all these channels with all this information. A lot of it is regurgitated, and not much of it is personalised and interpreted in a way that's helpful. There's 3 people that I really like to listen to. One's MJ from All to Love. If you've not looked at her channel, check it out. She's brilliant. She interprets for me in a way that suits my vibration. And Tobias Lars is another one. And another guy that I've recently found, an astrologer called Philip Daniel Miles, I love the way he interprets. And I think the thing that I love best about these three people is that it's coming from them. What they're saying is coming from them. It's not scripted. It's not, they're not trying to be or do anything that they are not. And that's what the awakening is about to me. It's reaching your true potential. And it's scary at times, and our minds play tricks on ourselves, and we get into all kinds of sort of vulnerable, fragile, energetic situations. But if we demystify things and we stop comparing ourselves to other people and other people's standards of living, we can get there. You know, I was thinking about meditation. My best meditation is 20 minutes before I'm, fast asleep at night, where I'm so tired, I'm twitching and my eyes are rolling. I'm laid on the bed like some quadriplegic. I'm not in the lotus position, umming and ahhing, Sometimes it's brilliant if I do that, but let's be real, we don't have to be anything other than who we are, and we can all connect to higher states of consciousness like we could as children very easily, just by letting go of the bullshit thought bubbles that fill our space. So anyway, I'm going to get off now. Happy Sunday. I've not said a third of what I wanted to, but at least I've got some material for the next chat. Bye.